5 bets today in the NBA for Tuesday, January 16th. Coming off another 2-1 day yesterday. There's 3 straight 2-1 days in the NFL. We missed on Rachaad White over 21.5 receiving yards. He finished with 1 catch for 3 yards. But in the second half, Baker missed him on the sideline on a kind of a broken play. And if he would have hit him, Rachaad White would have easily went over this total. We hit on the Bills of -9.5. Felt really good in the first half, especially when the Bills were up 21-0. The Steelers really made a game and ended up covering. We're covering at one point in the fourth quarter, but the Bills came through and got it done and covered. And our final one that we hit was the Bucks +3. This was never in question. They led the entire game, and they controlled all aspects of this football game. But today in the NBA, I have 5 bets. For my first one, I like Nikola Jokic over 11.5 rebounds. However, he's only hit this in 1 out of his last 7 games, but in his last 2 out of 3 games versus 76ers, he's gone over this. I really expect a big night from him. Jamal Murray might not play. I know Murray doesn't grab a lot of rebounds, but Jokic will be more aggressive. And going up against Embiid, I think he likes his matchup, and I think he'll come to play. I like Sabonis over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. He's hit this in 6 out of his last 9 games. And in the 2 games versus Suns this year, he's had 22 and 23. So against the Suns, he really shows up and gets the job done. Then I like SGA over 31.5 points. He's hit this in his last 10 out of 13 games, coming off a 9 for 19 shooting night last night against the Lakers, where he only scored 24 points. In the 1 game versus the Clippers this year, he scored 31, so right on the hook. I expect him to bounce back and go over that. And like I said, only scoring 24 last night. I expect him to have a big bounce back game. They don't have to travel. They get to stay in LA. So that's not going to be an issue for them. Same game parlay, 2-legger between the Nuggets and the 76ers. I like Jokic, 25 plus points. He's hit this in 5 out of his last 6 games. I'm expecting this to be a close game. Hopefully no blowouts tonight. We know how the National Blowout Association goes. Hopefully no blowouts tonight. Only 3 games. And Murray is possibly out. Jokic is going to go at Embiid, and I expect both of them to have a big game. For the second leg, Tyrese Maxey, 20 plus points. He's hit this in 9 out of his last 9 games. I know some of those games they didn't have Embiid, but even with Embiid this year, he's averaging right around 25, 26 points per game. And at home for the 76ers, I expect Maxey to have a big night as well. Finally, for my last play of the night, I have a plus 656 6-leg parlay. Start off De'Aaron Fox, 25 plus points. In 2 games versus the Suns this year, he scored 23 and 35. I like him right at that 25 tonight. For the second leg, Devin Booker, 4 plus rebounds. He's hit this in 7 out of his last 8 games. And against the Kings this year, he's had 4 and 7 rebounds. So he's hit this in both games versus them. Then I like Joel Embiid, 30 plus points. He's hit this in 17 out of his last 17 games. And in his last 2 games versus the Nuggets, he scored 34 and 47. I also like Nikola Jokic, 25 plus points. Like I've already said, he's hit this in 5 out of his last 6 games. And I love the back and forth between him and Embiid. And with the possibility of Murray being out, that just means more shots and a more aggressive Jokic. My final 2 legs, looking towards the Thunder and the Clippers game, I like Paul George, 20 plus points. He's hit this in 13 out of his last 14 games, coming off a game where he only shot 5 for 19 and scored 16 points. I like him to bounce back, and in the 1 game versus the Thunder this year, he scored 22. And for the final leg, I like SGA, 25 plus points. He's hit this in 18 out of his last 20 games. He only scored 24 last night, so the math says he's going to at least get 25 tonight. And in the 1 game versus the Thunder, he had 31 points. Those are my 5 best bets for Tuesday, January 16th in the NBA.